welcome to everyone here today. I want to thank all of the families here from Charter Oak, along with all of the families and children from across the state. My name is Georgina Rivera, and I'm the principal of Charter Oak International Academy. I also would like to say buenos dias y bon dia because we are an international school, and we are a school that speaks many languages. I would like to welcome Governor Lamont, along with Commissioner Charlene Russell-Tucker, Representatives Farrar, Gibson, and Gilchrist from West Hartford, the West Hartford Public Schools leadership team, our Board of Education members, food services team, Ms. Nolan from the End Hunger Connecticut Initiative, and of course all of the Charter Oak families, students, children, and all of those that came from across the state today to this press conference. I want to welcome all of you. According to the Food and Action Research Center, school meals are critical for children's health and learning. We know that school meals improve health, concentration for learning, it alleviates food insecurity, and also it helps children to thrive. Here at Charter Oak, 47% of our students receive free lunch and breakfast. If you think about that, 1 out of every 2 students is benefiting from this program. As a school leader and as a teacher, many times I come across students, and sometimes if they're not in a happy and relaxed state, I ask them, what do you need? And so many times the answer is, I'm hungry and I need food. And so I just want to congratulate everyone here who advocated for this, because as a school leader, it is so helpful for me and all of our staff members to be able to say, I can come down to the cafeteria and get you something to eat and not have to worry about funding. So this is a huge, huge move in the right direction, and I just want to say a personal thank you on behalf of all the children and families of Connecticut. I'm going to pass the microphone to our Commissioner of Education, Charlene Russell-Tucker.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. When I look at the crowd, I'm like, we're doing something right here. This is great. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here with the governor, our legislators, partners, and advocates to announce the $16 million critical investments in our students. So what are we doing with these resources? In the upcoming school year, these funds will be directed towards supporting students and families in 2 very important ways. First, the funds will be used to enable the provision of breakfast meals at no cost. At no cost. Yeah. And that is awesome. So at no cost to our students in schools that participate in the federal school breakfast program. Then that means that ensures that every student can begin their day with a nutritious meal, fostering a conducive environment for learning and growth. We estimate that approximately 177,243 students who would previously pay a reduced or full price for breakfast will now be able to receive breakfast at no cost. And so second, the funds will eliminate the household charges for lunch meals for students who are eligible for free reduced price meals in schools participating in our federal nutrition program. That means approximately 13,197 reduced price eligible students will now be able to receive a lunch at no cost. So my thanks, for a family of 3 that usually pay for a reduced meal for their students, a family of 3 children, breakfast and lunch, will be saving $378 for the entire school year. And that is awesome. So with that, my thanks certainly to the governor and the legislative leadership here in this room, which is phenomenal when you look at all the legislators here, for their heightened focus and unwavering commitment to our students and our families in our state. The department, under the governor's leadership, firmly believes, and I know you do too, that every student deserves access to wholesome and nutritious meals because ultimately, and some of you have heard me say this, there is no curriculum brilliant enough to compensate for a hungry stomach or a distracted mind. Our students' physical, mental, social, and emotional health and wellness are foundational to learning. Therefore, providing healthy meals without financial stigmas is a strategic investment in fueling students' growth and educational outcomes. We know the research shows that the positive benefits of starting the day with a well-balanced, nutritious breakfast. I won't ask what you all had for breakfast this morning, but we know that it improves attendance, better concentration and alertness, and improve the speed and memory and cognitive tests. Funding to our schools will be based on the eligibility of our students, as we know. But to conclude, I am so pleased that as we move towards the starting bell for the new year, that families don't have to worry about the meals being provided to their students. Our educators can know that our students can come to school ready to learn, and you all have shown your commitment, Connecticut's commitment, to our students, 513,513 students in our state. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Commissioner, for those amazing words. And I just want to say on behalf of all school leaders and teachers, we thank you so much for advocating, and thank you, Governor, for advocating. Our next speaker is going to be our Senate President, Martin Looney.
Thank you so much, and it's wonderful to be with you here this morning to celebrate this event. For any of you who are old enough to remember or may just have seen them later on the television stations that carry some of the old sitcoms, in the world of Leave It to Beaver or The Donna Reed Show or Father Knows Best, the kids would come home from school in the afternoon, and there would be the stay-at-home mom ready to give them a snack if they were hungry. There was never a thought that they might go to school in the morning hungry. And the reality is that was not the reality of life for most people then, and it's certainly not now. And we know that many students struggle for the reasons that were said by the Commissioner and the Principal. They are reliant upon the meals they get in school to actually be the most substantive meal that they get in many cases during the day. It is a lifeline, not just a convenience. And that's one of the reasons why we have to worry about summer programs to feed kids at locations during the summer months when school is not in session. Because during that 2.5-month gap, there is in many cases a food desert in many communities. So in order to make sure that we're providing what we need to provide to sustain learning, that's why I'm so proud that we're committing this $16 million. And Speaker Ritter and I were very happy to be able to work on this together. I want to thank the Governor for his involvement and commitment on it as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Senate President Looney, for your kind words and for advocating on behalf of the children of Connecticut. Next, I'd like to welcome Kate Farrar, a representative from West Hartford.
Good morning, everyone. It is such a thrill to be here in West Hartford. And I just want to acknowledge two other of my West Hartford delegation colleagues, Representative Sanchez and Representative Exum, and also our West Hartford Board of Education Chair, Lorna Thomas-Farquharson. And we have such a full room of West Hartford teachers and the students that you'll hear from today are really the voice behind us being advocates up here as well as legislators. And when I think about what we're doing here today, at the heart of it, I just come back to day in and day out that 40% of the families in our state are simply struggling to make ends meet. And when we think about kids and families going hungry every day, the simplest piece that we can do in school is ensure that our kids are well fed and ready to learn. And that's why, as a legislature this year, it was a team effort among so many folks behind me, so many folks who can't be here today, and the Governor's office to make sure that we're taking this step, moving forward so that every child in this state can be fed, ready to learn, and can truly thrive. So thank you for being here. Most importantly, please make sure that you're encouraging so many students in your lives to get access to food, and ensure that we are really moving ahead and making sure that this is just the first step to providing meals for all kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Farrar, and thank you for advocating for the students of Connecticut. Next, I'd like to welcome Representative Jillian Gilchrist from West Hartford.
Thank you so much for having us today. I echo what Representative Farrar has said. Welcome and thank you to all of the West Hartford residents and families and kids who have advocated for this policy. I also want to recognize the many legislative colleagues who have come to West Hartford, to Charter Oak today, who have worked tirelessly on this proposal, and the governor and the commissioner. You know, no child should come to school hungry, and no child should go home from school hungry. And so the fact that we can take this step to provide food security for some families here in the state of Connecticut is just so vitally important. And so I see this as a step in the right direction to getting us to a place where we recognize that school meals are just part of the overall education package. And I know we'll get there at some point, and I'm so proud that we're at this point today. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Gilchrist, for acknowledging that meals are part of our school day and part of the educational system. Next, I'd like to welcome on Lucy Nolan of End Hunger Connecticut. She is the Policy Director. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Governor Lamont, Connecticut State Department of Ed, who we've been working for years on school breakfast, all the legislators and all the advocates that are here today for making this happen, because this is really extraordinary. School breakfast and having reduced priced meals paid for will help so many of our kids. 1 in 8 kids in the state are food insecure, and many kids, even those kids that aren't counted, their families have food insecurity that we can't even pretend to know about, which is why this universal school meals were so important to all of us. I also was the coordinator for the School Meals for All Connecticut Coalition, and we officially began in January of this year. And we built our list to 1,500 people and 40 organizations during the legislative session. These people came out, they wrote to their legislators, hundreds presented testimony at the hearings and came out. It was extraordinary. I'm telling you this because no-cost school meals are important to Connecticut families, educators, to school food service workers, doctors, farmers, and most importantly, to our kids. And so I'm so happy that Connecticut is joining all the other states around the country that are beginning to fund universal school meals. One thing we learned during the pandemic was that kids need the meals to get going and to get ready to go to school and learn. So I wanted to just say the School Breakfast for All, it's an incredibly important program, and because we know that kids need to get fed before they are ready to learn. There is a reason that schools serve breakfast during state-mandated testing times. There are fewer behavior problems in the classroom, fewer visits to the school nurse, and all of those things stop the disruption that happens during the school day. So everybody's ready to learn. It increases, even kids who eat meals at home do better at school when they eat at school. So, and then one of the things that for many of us who have had the logistical challenges of getting out in the morning, this really helps. There is no question about that. And it also gives our families breathing room. We just heard $300 will really help a family. And so we know that this will help our families. So I think that when we learned earlier that our kids need the school meals, and that we learned it during the period. There was a period where there were no meals and the kids didn't eat breakfast. They would eat lunch but not breakfast when they had to pay for it. So it is critically important that we have this. And I want to say finally, what we're doing shows that Connecticut, our administration, our legislators, all are doing and continue to move forward what's best for all of our children. So we thank you very much. All the advocates who I'm speaking for today, really, really thank you so much for this, and all the legislators. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan, for bringing light to this issue and just reminding us that if you work around children, you know they're hungry all day long. And so if we can provide food throughout the day, we are just so grateful. So thank you for eliminating that. Next, I'd like to bring on Teresa Dotson from the Dietetics and Nutrition Association, along with Christina Roberge from the School of Nutrition Association. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Teresa Dotson. I'm a registered dietitian, and I am the current president-elect for the Connecticut Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Thank you to the commissioner, who is a fellow dietitian and member of our organization, for inviting me today. We are an affiliate of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the world's largest organization of food and nutrition professionals. Here in Connecticut, we serve the public by promoting nutrition, health, and well-being. We are committed to supporting our members and the community through outreach, advocacy, and research. Some recent examples: food as medicine, nutrition counseling for Medicaid and clients, food, nutrition, and anti-hunger initiatives such as funding for school nutrition. Our vision as the Connecticut Academy is to make Connecticut a state where sustainable food systems help all people and an environment thrives through the transformative power of quality, nutritious food accessible for all. In my career as a dietitian, I've worked in clinical, community, private practice, academics, food service management. One thing is consistent in these areas: people have time or money, and usually not both. One thing that we can do is to help families that are both struggling and juggling, as Lucy mentioned. It's not just the people that can't afford the food. Sometimes it's people that just don't have the time to put it together. Investing in children's nutrition makes sense and will save dollars. School meals meet the dietary guidelines, include all 5 food groups, and educate children on what a healthy meal should look like. It also gives parents one less thing to worry about. Chronic diseases like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, all the things that we think of as old people diseases begin in childhood with the choices that they learn and practice. It takes a long time to clog an artery. Funding school meals provides a strong foundation for children to grow into healthy, productive adults. I applaud my school nutrition colleagues who provided meals to all children during the pandemic. I'm confident that they will rise to the challenge of making these current funds stretch as far as they can to meet the needs of most children. Thank you.
Good morning. I love the energy in this room today. My name is Christina Roberge. I am the School Nutrition Association of Connecticut president. On behalf of the School Nutrition Association of Connecticut and the students of Connecticut, we are very excited and extremely thankful to Governor Lamont, his team, and the legislators for allotting these funds for the school year 23-24, so that all the students in Connecticut can have access to free breakfast, and the reduced status is now free. Children who have full bellies concentrate more, learn better, pay attention more, and have better days all around. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen a hungry child cry. I've seen a hungry child who just needs food, and with the smile on their face afterwards was everything. Children need to be fed. It should be the #1 thing on our list to feed our future. We would also like to thank everyone who advocated for the children of Connecticut. Without you, this would not have been possible. Thank you.
Thank you both for advocating for school nutrition. As an international baccalaureate school, the students here at Charter Oak are taught to ask questions, notice what's happening around them, and take action. Hadley Hamilton Morris did just that when she went to the Capitol and spoke about school meal programs. And we are so proud of her because her advocacy is going to help all the students here at Charter Oak and also all across the state. It is my honor to introduce one of our former students who's now moving on to the middle school, Hadley Hamilton Morris.
My name is Hadley, and I graduated from Charter Oak in June. I advocated for free school meals for kids last year because I believe all kids should have the right to have food. I'm so excited to be here to celebrate the news that all kids in Connecticut will be going back to school with free breakfast waiting for them. Schools giving us breakfast is an important way to make sure we have what we need to be ready to learn each day. When free school meals stopped last year, I had friends who didn't eat because they didn't have food at home and didn't have the money to buy meals. Free breakfast at school will mean everyone will have access to at least one healthy meal a day, and no one will have to worry about being ashamed about not having food at home. Thank you to Governor Lamont for making a difference in the lives of Connecticut children.
Good job. So for those of us who are familiar with Charter Oak, and I know I have some Charter Oak families here, the ultimate award we give here is a positive office referral. So Hadley Hamilton Morris, I would like to give you the Charter Oak International Academy Positive Office Referral for being caring, a communicator, and advocate for children across the state of Connecticut, and this is signed by myself, our leadership, our governor, and our Commissioner of Education. Congratulations. And finally, I'd like to welcome our governor, Governor Ned Lamont.
Well, Hadley, we heard you loud and clear. Legislature heard you, Marty Looney. I listened, and that's why we're here, and what that means. And yeah, Marty and I were listening to Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best. I'm not sure my kids watch Father Knows Best or take it to heart. And as Marty said, that was sort of an idealized version of the way things were. But we're asking our schools to do so much, and we need them to do so much. Here at Charter Oak, you just told me 40-plus languages spoken here, 40-plus languages. And we have to reach the whole kid. We got to make sure kids are ready to learn. And, you know, that starts first thing in the day, a good meal, a good breakfast. No stigma. Come in and get that meal, and that's what this is all about. And lunch, what that means, as Charlene said, for a lot of parents, what that means in terms of some savings, what that means in terms of making sure our kids are ready to go. We've had to work hard, you know, coming out of COVID. We've asked our schools to do more and more. Our schools are almost more community-oriented. We have public health in our schools and mental health in our schools. And we have the LEAP program that Charlene, Marty, and I put together. So we're knocking on doors and reaching out to parents saying, please come. We miss your child. We want them here at the school. Doing everything we can to get more kids into the classroom every day. And teaching doesn't stop in the classroom. It starts in the classroom. You were telling me about the after-school programs here. We have them in about 90+% of our schools right now. A lot of the learning loss, a lot of the achievement gap happens not just in the classroom, but after school, and what those kids have an opportunity to do. And so you don't go home to an empty home, go home to an empty house. And most importantly, we want to make sure that our kids are healthy and ready to learn. That's what this program is. That's what we're just getting started. And thank you for reminding us how important this is every day.
Well, I just want to thank all of you for being here today and for advocating. I want to thank everyone that showed up in support of our children of Connecticut. And I just want to say, always remember that food is important to learning. And so kids really need meals to be able to be successful in school. So anytime we are providing a meal, we are helping them to be healthy and whole and thrive in our schools of Connecticut. So just thank you so much for being here this afternoon. I just want to share with all of you that we do have refreshments on the way out because we are talking about food today, so it would only be correct that I have food. And thank you for being here.
You gave us some numbers, 177,200 Yeah, come on here. Sure. So I'm going to introduce you to Shannon, who is running the programs. Give you some more specific details.
Sure. So what I can tell you offhand is that we have approximately 320,000 kids in Connecticut who qualify for free and reduced price meals. Since I don't have my calculator on me, I'm going to leave it up to you to do that subtraction.
I have a question for Christina Rivera, who is very passionate. Can you come to the microphone? I think it's surprising to a lot of people that Connecticut is considered one of the wealthiest states in the country, and yet we have children who come to school. Is this a way, a compromise? It was originally for all, but especially giving those kids whose parents may not afford it, the chance to compete and be successful in life?
Absolutely. It eliminates, Governor Lamont said, eliminates the stigma, which the stigma is very alive in the school districts. It's all, I see it daily, day in and day out. So it's an even playing field. And now, when COVID hit and we fed every child breakfast and lunch at no charge, our numbers drastically went up. I talked to teachers who said that they were doing better in school. They were paying more attention. There was no fidgeting. When they're not listening to their bellies rumble, they can learn. And it does even the playing field, so they have more, in the state of Connecticut, we serve the most healthiest meals you could ever see. Okay, there are no holds barred. We have fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. We do everything that we can to make sure that these kids have a full, healthy meal. No Lunchables. No, absolutely not.
For the governor and anybody else who wants to take a swing at it, obviously there was a push this year to get us to universal meals in schools. We didn't quite get there. Massachusetts this past week, I guess, just adopted a budget that contains or makes their program permanent to offer school meals for everybody. Is that a direction we should go to in Connecticut, and what has to happen before we get there?
Look, I think making sure that our kids are well fed at school, beginning of the day, end of the day is really important. We've got it in this budget. We've got it going for the next year. We're seeing what the federal government's going to do as well. Obviously, we've got free lunches in most of our urban areas. This is extending it now to our suburban towns as well to make sure that nobody's left behind. And I think we're just getting started.
What was the push? Did you get a lot of pressure since the legislative session ended, and it seemed like it was over, right? And that we weren't going to have free lunches, at least not now. Did they keep up with this and get your ear to change?
Yep.
I just want to add one clarification to what I said before. So the 320,000 eligible for free or reduced price meals does include children who are enrolled in what we call community eligibility provision schools, and all kids in those schools receive all meals at no cost.
Senator Rooney, was it a missed opportunity not to have free breakfast and lunch universally in Connecticut this year? I know it was a $90 million price tag, a lot of back and forth on it.
Well, that's why we have annual sessions, Ken, and we'll come back next year and address that, as the governor said. I'm pleased that we did this now, and I agree that we should move more comprehensively toward free lunch, free school meals for everyone, because even in circumstances where parents may be above the threshold for even the reduced price lunches, there are in some cases where there are needs or other kind of social problems that may exist in those families that may interfere with providing healthy meals for kids. So we should be moving in that direction.
Well, you're going to be making budget adjustments to the second year of the budget that just took effect.
Right, that's what I said. We have next year's session coming up.
So, but this is federal money that is going to run out.
Right. Well, that's the issue. That's part of the debate on many things. I mean, what is it? What are the things that we had federal ARPA money for that we are now going to assume with general fund money when federal money is gone? And this is one of them that I think we should.
I mean, that same question goes to you, Lamont. If this money is running out, are you prepared to fund this in 2021
Also, the federal government is stepping up, and they're looking at what they want to do in terms of on a national basis, how they take the lead. So whatever we do in close coordination with the federal government. But I think you've heard here loud and clear that every kid deserves the right to start the day with a full belly. It makes them better students and healthier humans.
And are any of these funds going towards the quality of lunch meals? I've talked to a bunch of students in Hartford who talk about the food is disgusting. We don't want to eat. We'll starve ourselves throughout the whole day. Is there any efforts that are going towards making the quality of lunches better?
Look, I grew up on Pop-Tarts, so I'm probably not the ideal person to talk to. Would you speak to that?
Thanks so much for the question. The meal patterns are really highly regulated by the federal government. And in Connecticut, we also have what's called healthy food certification, which helps us provide more nutritious meals or more nutritious snacks for purchase as well outside of those meals. But we do know that there is always a challenge in making sure with the supply chain disruptions we've had in getting the food. But I echo what Christina, the Snacks president, said in that you will find some of the best meals you'll ever see in Connecticut.
And are you also like surveying students and kind of getting their opinions on these school lunches? Because we see healthy meals, good meals, different than a child, right?
Oh, absolutely. Most school districts do survey their children. A lot of them do taste tests. They have ways that the kids can contribute to what they want to eat and have their voices expressed. Absolutely.
I just want to make a comment on the healthy part as well. Right now, if you look at the number of children who are have diabetes, that has been increasing in our country, and the number of young adults with fatty liver disease has been increasing. It's increasing to the point that if we do not intervene with appropriate healthy food, we will have an epidemic of cirrhosis. And then this is more common in younger minority community children, and a lot of that has to do with unhealthy diet. So if we can make sure that our children are going to eat healthy, they will grow up to be healthy. And then there are real illnesses that the trajectory is not good, and I'm so glad and so proud of our state to be focusing not only on nutrition, but healthy nutrition as well, which is going to be necessary.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. Welcome to the 6th District. So I'm Representative Jimmy Sanchez, and I'm glad you brought that up, because Hartford, you got to think about it. In the urban neighborhoods, in the cities, we're accustomed to eating junk food, fast food, and that's where several generations grew up on. Now we have to introduce the nutritional food, right? So to our kids, I have family in there, so what is nutritional for us is garbage for them. This is where the education piece come in. This is where we have to, in my opinion, introduce this nutritional food in a cuisine way. And you know, I love my rice and beans and my pork chops and my chicken, right? So I'm hoping that we can serve that. I'm hoping that we can introduce different cultural food, but it's got to be in a way where it's nutritional. And what I believe is our children is so accustomed to eating pizza, you know, McDonald's, what have you, and that's the issue right there. I don't think it's just the food is bad. They don't understand the importance of that.
I also want to just address one thing that's been left out today is farm to school, because what this allows is for schools to be able to buy from farmers. It helps the economics. I mean, during the pandemic, some farms, that's how they lived, was being, you know, doing the meals for schools. So with this kind of program, we get better, we get more local and more fresh and produce, and kids, we have programs like Food Corps where they go into the schools and they have them decide whether they like the zucchini, you know, whether they'll give it a pass, and so I think that's really critically important that we're moving in that direction, and that's what this can help us do.
So I just wanted to add on, I really appreciate your comments. Here at Charter Oak, one of our preschool teachers actually introduced Try Day Friday to introduce different foods to our children, because sometimes they've never experienced healthy, fresh vegetables and fruit. And so a lot of this is education. And so what they might see as maybe not as tasty as we introduce them as part of our school education on Tri-Day Friday, we will help them to understand that healthy things can taste good, but we have to introduce it into their palate early on. So I just want to say that it's really critical that we help to build the knowledge base of students that healthy meals and nutritious may taste a little different, but over time your palate is going to change. So I just wanted to add that on and shout out one of our preschool teachers who's taking that on as a charge and really seeing that as a need within our school community.
Since we're here in this moment, could I ask you how it's looking for hiring new teachers and staffing up?
All right, so you're moving off topic, but really important. Yeah, no, absolutely, and there's a lot of work happening across the state in this vein. We know how important it is. We've shared that we have the reciprocity agreement with 11 or 12 states that we're continuing to look at, where we've hired new teachers. Over 400 new teachers have come into the state. We're continuing to work in that vein. The apprenticeship program that you know the governor loves so much is also coming online. So there's a lot of work that's happening in the agency on that in this space. And I also want to just pivot back just a bit to the nutrition piece, because there's also what's happening in the cafeteria, but also what's happening in the classroom. And so nutrition education happens in the classroom, and then it dovetails very nicely to the foods that's served in the cafeteria.
Well, how is hiring going in terms of cafeteria workers? I mean, that's
That's a great question, and we'll have the snack folks come here as well, because we know that to talk about, you know, there's always, we have all these shortages in different areas. That's one way, one place as well, and so you want to share a little bit about what you're doing in that vein?
Sure. So I can only speak for Groton, that is my district. It's hard. It's been hard since COVID. Our staff is tired. They're working so hard, and to do these things when there are 4, 5, 6 staff members short in a kitchen. But speaking for Groton, we just hired 6 new people. So it's going to be a good year.
My question is geared more towards the legislature and Governor Lamont is, you know, particularly if that is the priority and that is the goal, that costs a lot of money, right? And so there has to be a commitment on that behalf to do that. And so I'm just wondering if we can get a little bit more of a more tangible kind of answer towards this next legislative session. We have an opportunity to get it done. What do you need to do to kind of make it happen and get it done and make sure this is something that becomes universal as you all outlined you want to do with it?
Let's see how successful this is and see what the budget looks like next year.
Are you all committed to, it's going to cost money, we know that, right? The model in other states, so on and so forth. Are you all committed, regardless of what that price tag is, of getting that done? Is that kind of where you all are headed with the universal preschool lunches and that goal?
You gotta find balance. We are. I'm the Republican in the room.
Committed. I think many of us are committed. It's just how much we can go up in increments. Sometimes going up all at once is very difficult. So it has to be an agreement between both sides of the House and both sides in the Senate. It's just got to be agreeable so that we don't hurt either side too much. So I think increments, as the governor chose to do this year, is the best at the time. And then hopefully after that, we can just continue to go up until it covers what we need it to cover.
What do you all glean from this prior session in terms of maybe a starting point when you come back to the table in February? Where you all maybe, where's the conversation shifted? Obviously you have this, you know, this is an incremental step, but where do you all start the next time you go to the table? Presumably further down than you were before.
I think that's going to depend on what we see from what we've done. You know, a lot of us want to go all in, but we can't go all in. You know, there's a lot of us that are committed to do that, but unfortunately that's not something that we can do. So, you know, maybe a little bit more of the same, you know, but it's going to depend on what the forecast of what we've just done, how it handles our problems that we have feeding kids.
Thanks, everyone.
Good job, Miss Lady.